to my first day here in Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan. My first time visiting Tajikistan. I've just had an epic trip from Porto to Luton to Istanbul, Tashkent, and now here. And now I'm starting my tour. It's a blazing hot Sunday midday, probably not the best time of day to be out, but needs must. I'm here until Wednesday when I'm going on to Bishkek. And so it's time to start seeing the sights. As you can see, this bad boy here is something pretty special. I'm going to find out about that in a minute. So let's start having a look around the city. Well, it's take two on the start of my trip. Yesterday I had planned to have a little wander around the city centre in that direction to get my bearings, but after having lunch at this restaurant just over there, I found myself falling asleep at the table. So I just went back to the hostel, got a couple of hours kit to catch up and to sort of refresh myself for the rest of the day. So I'm all fine now. It's Tuesday morning, it's about 9:30. And according to temperature, it's already at 28 degrees and I can feel it. So where I'm at now it's called Istiklol Square, and behind me is the Istiklol Monument. This is a monument that was inaugurated in 2022. Istiklol means independence. It was built to commemorate independence of Tajikistan from the Soviet Union. My guess is that it was supposed to be, it was actually inaugurated on the 31st anniversary. So my guess is it was supposed to be inaugurated the year before, but obviously COVID delayed everything. It's 121 meters tall, and then it's surrounded by this square with fountains, arches. Yeah, so it looks kind of gaudy to me, but obviously it's impressive, it's important to the locals. It's topped with a crown. I believe Tajikistan, the word Taj comes from the word Toj, which means crown. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, there is sort of other bits inside there, but I'm not going to go to those. So right now I'm going to head down the main road over there, which is called Rudeki, and got a couple of museums to visit today. So by the time we actually start getting down there and get out of this sun for a few hours. Come up to 10 o'clock now and it's really starting to get hot. Luckily I invested in some vests, so I've got a little bit there on me, but I've got a lot of factor 50 on because I burn very easily. So Just are currently on Ismail Samoni Road Avenue, and heading towards the Ethnographic Museum, which should be open about an hour and a few minutes. Gonna look at the ancient history of Tajikistan. Don't know about it. Obviously, this is an area that was on the Silk Road a lot, and had a lot of connections with ancient civilizations. I think the most important one in this region was the Sogdian civilization, who were well known as great international traders. But a lot of the ancient history of this region is wrapped up in politics of today. Some say that, well, a lot of Tajik cities, they're currently in Uzbekistan, and Uzbekistan saying, well, a lot of Uzbek cities are in Tajikistan, and it's all a bit, yeah, as is often the case with history and archaeology, modern politics plays a great deal into it. So it'll be interesting to see what the Ethnographic Museum has to offer. I'm sure there will be a lot of politics involved, but hopefully it'll be kept to a minimum. So we'll see. Okay, so one of two things happened. Either I've walked past the museum and my complete lack of preparation, as usual, means I didn't notice it, or it's actually been demolished or moved or something like that. The book I've got, which is a Brad Travel Guide, this edition was published in 2020, and so it is a little out of date, and it didn't have any information about the Istiklol monument, which got me a bit confused yesterday. So yeah, preparation makes perfect, well, practice makes perfect, but and be prepared. That was the Scouts motto. It's been a long time since I've been a Scout, so I'm going to head back where I came, just to make sure I didn't walk straight past it. If it's not then, I'm just going to move on. I've got another museum I've got listed for today to go to, and when I go somewhere for lunch, I'll get on the Wi-Fi and try and find out an alternative for the Ethnographic Museum, or if it's moved somewhere, where is it? So a little thing I've noticed here is that they have all these open drains in the streets, which can be a bit smelly at times, but it does keep the streets relatively clean. But obviously, look at this, look how close the cars are, so it makes crossing the street limited, because it's actually, it's not exactly a long distance, but it's not short either. It's kind of dangerous, and of course parking, it's a bit risky. Yeah, so imagine getting your parking wrong here, you are going to smash that chassis, probably rip off the exhaust, and have a nice little bill, especially for this guy who's driving a Lexus in Tajikistan. He's probably got a fair bit of money, and he's parking right next to this open drain. Okay, so I just went to a little cafe and managed to get on their Wi-Fi, and it turns out the Ethnographic Museum isn't open on Monday, so this guidebook needs updating. It's no big deal, it's just the way it is. And so I'm off to this other museum called the Gurminj Museum, which is dedicated to a famous film actor. It's also got a collection of musical instruments, which might be quite interesting. It's probably going to be closed actually. The cafe's internet was a little bit unreliable, so it wouldn't let me do another search, and so I'm just guessing. But well, yeah, we'll see if this is open. If not, then I can always come back tomorrow. Just means that I won't be able to do all the museums I wanted to do. It's not the end of the world, but I'll still get a good tour around the city today, and then I could focus on museums tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. All right, just got to try and find this museum and see if it's open. So I just realised it was coming up to 1 o'clock lunchtime, so I thought I might try some street food. There were these couple of these kind of fried pastry things I saw in this little kiosk. Apparently they run out, so instead I got a couple of these, which are basically sausage rolls. So I'll find out what the proper name for these is later, but I'm going to try some Tajik sausage rolls, see if how they compare to Greg's. Well, basically hot dog sausage rolls in quite soft fried batter. So you're okay, Greg's. You still got the crown. They're not horrible, not brilliant either, but they'll do for now. Just keep me going. Dipping sauce. Let's see what that's like. Yeah, a bit of a kick to it, a bit spicy, but it's fine. So here's an example of some of the newer buildings that sprung up in Dushanbe over recent years. It's got a kind of a classical feel to it. There's quite a lot of them have, but it looks kind of weird. I'm guessing there's probably some Middle Eastern influence as well. It kind of makes me feel like if a comic book artist were to draw like a hyper modern futuristic classical architecture, it almost feels like the Roman Empire had never gone away. It does look weird. I'm not sure whether it's beautiful or not. It's interesting, but this is a tame example of some of the newer buildings that have been built over the years. So I just had a little stop off in another cafe for a nice cold drink that I really needed. Turns out I was almost at that Gomage Museum, just around another little corner of this back street I was in, and I would have been there. But hey-oh. That's what happens when you don't prepare properly, and I should be more prepared. We're going to be making videos like this, so I'll do that and make sure I'm a bit more up to speed on the rest of the trip. So right now I'm actually going to head down around the corner a little bit to get a funicular up to this hill, which is going to have some interesting, hopefully get some interesting views of the city. And it's blazing hot, and I might go to the Gomage Museum. See me crossing the road. I might go to the Gomage Museum afterwards, see how I feel. I also didn't find the funicular, so there you go. Very bad of me. This is one day that I'll have to remember not to repeat. But don't worry, tomorrow museums will be open, so that'll be fine. So I'm just going to head back to Istiklol Square, and there are some public monuments to show you. So there's still plenty of things to see and do. And then I'll head back to the hostel for a bit of rest and a clean up for going out for some dinner. Back to the hostel now. It's been a tiring one, quite unsuccessful, but there you go. That's my bad planning for you. So I'm just gonna meander my way back and have a bit of a rest, try and get some more fluid inside me. I'm getting dehydrated very quickly at the moment, and then I'll freshen up and head out later, see what there is in the town. So I just had dinner. It wasn't that special. I did have a traditional Turkish meal last night. I didn't make any video of it, and that was fantastic. This one, there seems to be more Turkish restaurants here than like local Tajik. I found it quite difficult. I did go to a local Tajik one just around the corner from my hostel, but it looked kind of nice. It was completely empty, and the staff, they had no English. Obviously it was a local one, and I just thought it was going to be too much hassle. So, and then to be fair, the menu didn't look that big either anyway, and so I went around the corner from my hostel, had this place called Merv, and it was a decent Turkish restaurant with it's all mixed kebab. Yeah, it was fine. It was quite good. Yeah, again, it was cheap. So I'm just gonna heading into the city centre again. I'm gonna just have a look around the illuminated modern buildings and how the monuments come out at night, and all the fountains as well. So let's have a look. So it's about 9:45 in the morning. The day's about to start. I'm actually going to start heading to museums now. Also yesterday I wasn't able to get to the museums I wanted to go to, so I'm going to have to be a bit more efficient about which ones I go to. So I'm actually going to go to the National Museum, which should be open at about 10 o'clock, rather than go to the ethnographic, which I wanted to see. It's fine, it's just one of those things. It's been an interesting start to the day. Unfortunately, something I had yesterday didn't agree with me very well, and let's just say it was an interesting start, sort of an interesting wake-up call this morning. I did go out last night and have the restaurant where I had breakfast. I had it was a mixed kebab place, so maybe it was something like that. Although an Austrian guy who came into the hostel said they shouldn't drink water from the water fountains, because sometimes the water supplied by corrupt companies would just fill them up with untreated tap water, and you can get ill. Apparently he got ill from that somewhere else. So well, it could have been one or the other. I think it was probably the food, which is a shame because it's actually a nice restaurant. I actually just went back there for a coffee. I didn't get anything to eat, so but I think I'm okay. It was just a bit of an hour or so of a little bit of an issue in the hostel, but I think I'm fine. I don't feel ill, I don't feel tired, I don't feel queasy or anything like that. I haven't eaten yet, but I think it'll be fine. So I'll just have to keep vigilant today. So heading down Rudaki, and I'm going to take a right onto Ismaili Somoni and get to the National Museum. And here is the National Museum of Tajikistan. Quite an interesting looking building. This classical style they like to do over here. This is a bit more traditional, but it's actually got the modernist interior, so it's almost like a traditional looking acropolis on the outside with a modern interior inside. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on. It doesn't look that big, so it probably won't take too long to get round. But to me, it's not about the number of exhibits or the expanse of the exhibits. It's more about the quality. What are you actually going to learn from this? So let's go inside and have a look. So behind me, what you have here are various displays about the president and his time on the international stage. I'm guessing at the UN, one of lots of different conferences, various different events of like the year of water purification or things like that. There's a lot of glorification of the president going on here. This is something you would not see in the UK for any president. Like, can you imagine the British Museum having a wall like this dedicated to Keir Starmer or Liz Truss or Boris Johnson? It's kind of funny, really, but yeah, this is the way they do it here. So that was the National Museum of Tajikistan, and on the whole I think it's actually a pretty good museum. It was very well laid out, it was logical, it was chronological, there were arrows on the floor to guide you in the right direction so you went through it in nice order. Some of it was a bit cringe, a bit of glorifying the president for life, you know, the hero, whatever he is. But on the whole, I enjoyed it. There was a few mentions of some ancient kingdoms and nations that I'd never heard of before, which is exactly what you want to have from a place like this, actually telling you about stuff you've never heard of, rather than just the usual stuff. So definitely, that was one definitely worth going to. Also, I almost forgot, it's got 11:45 now. It's blazing hot, as you would expect. I haven't actually eaten. My stomach's still a little bit of an issue, but I think I'm going to go back into the centre, because that's in the general direction I need to go anyway, and get to a cafe, have a sit down, get on their internet and the Wi-Fi and figure out where we're going to go. Thinking I'm going to go to that Goming Museum, because that seems to be one that's highly recommended. It looks like a very small one as well, so probably it could be like a 10-15 minute visit, and then I can go on to something else like the Museum of Antiquities or something like that. I'll figure it out now. Just been trying to get some currency, been to a couple of locations at the banks and none of them take British pounds. I looked online before, I did prepare for this, and said yes, you can exchange British pounds in Dushanbe. I exchanged some at the airport, and I knew I should have exchanged more. I exchanged about £100. I should have gone to 200, but I over exchanged. But I was trying to ration my spending. But there you go. So just got to find some. Think about it. It's not too bad actually. I mean, that's £100 I exchanged. Plus I gave £20 to the taxi driver. And I'm only just starting to get close to running out, which is actually pretty good, I think. So I just need to get down to a currency exchange, which I've seen reviewed online. It's about 35 minute walk, so I'll probably get a taxi and see if they've got any. If not, I'll just be paying out my Revolut account, which I don't want to do because I brought a load of cash as well to exchange. But there you go, the Revolut was supposed to be for Kazakhstan, but I did, given how much it's cost, and I knew I was over. I put way more money than I needed to, so it's not really that big a deal. It just means I've got a lot of currency that I'm carrying, which is a bit annoying, but there you go. So I'm going to have some lunch now, and then I'll try and get some pounds exchanged. Hopefully that'll be pretty easy. So that was the Museum of Antiquities. So that's a pretty good museum. It's quite small. It was only on 2 floors. It was very quiet. I think there was only other 2 people actually visiting for about 50 som. Yeah, so still not too bad. A lot of quite interesting archaeological finds. It's definitely worth coming to. It's not going to take you long, between half an hour and an hour at most, maybe, unless of course you really study every single thing. But it does give you a feel of not just the sort of prehistoric and early historic era of this part of the world, but also how much similar some of it is to the rest of the world, and the prehistoric era with the flint axe heads and things like that. It's very similar to what we have in England and other parts of Europe. So yeah, definitely a very good museum to visit, and it's definitely worth coming to. So now I'm going to take a walk back towards the Goming Museum, see if I can get into that this time. Well, I didn't find the Musical Instruments Museum, unfortunately. I was in the right area, and I may have actually walked right past it, but as I said before, because of my poor planning, I didn't actually find it. Sadly, it wasn't signposted either, which is a shame because it was highly recommended. But if you are going to Dushanbe, then from what I can tell, you should definitely try and find that museum. On the whole, I love Tajikistan. I love Dushanbe. It was an interesting city. It's not what I expected, but it was fascinating. It looks like it's certainly developed a lot since Erica Fatland visited and wrote her book, Sovietistan. Just very interesting, very vibrant, lots of friendly people, lots of interesting places to visit, and definitely worth the trip.